G'day, Andrew here again from Guitar Street. Thanks so much for tuning in to what is a really special rescue video, I guess. I'd say special because this one's taken me over a year to finish. You know, it's a big rescue. It's probably the biggest rescue I've ever completed, or the most comprehensive rescue I've ever completed at least. And you know what? I'm pretty proud of this one. If you want to support my rescues, please head to guitarstreet.co. I have a range of t-shirts available for sale and there's free shipping worldwide. You can also follow me on Instagram at guitarstreet.co. Please remember to hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date with more rescues. Okay, let's get into it. This is Spadehead, a vintage Yamaha bass that someone had decided to cover in black house paint and thrash the hell out of. Spadehead started life in 1975 as an SB55. Now, I've got a real soft spot for the SB55s for a number of reasons. The model was one of Yamaha's first successful basses. It was a massive turning point for them. And the double cutaway body was absolutely light years ahead of all their previous designs, especially compared with the odd-looking SB2A, known to many as the Flying Samurai, and its cousin, the SB1C, the Flying Banana. The headstock isn't everybody's cup of tea, and there is a reason why I call these things spade heads. The SB55 really marked a turning point for Yamaha, especially in its design and popularity. It was the most successful bass by far that they had released. It's the precursor to arguably one of the greatest basses of all time, the Yamaha Super Bass. It's almost like Yamaha wanted to trial a body shape before committing their designers to take on a headstock design. I had an SB55 a little while ago, and to be honest, I fell in love with them. The tone is phenomenal, somewhere between a P bass and a jazz bass. It's got a real punch to it, almost like Geezer Butler's EMG pickups. So when I saw this poor bastard on the auctions, I knew I just had to grab it. I had to rescue it. Of course, when these things arrive, there's always a moment of regret. The truth is, when I unpacked this one, I put it away. I didn't have the headspace for it. Some angst-ridden punk rocker had covered the bass in black house paint, and it was thick. It was really thick. The frets were worn all the way down, and I had no signal output. I didn't know if there was much that I could actually salvage from this one, but after a while I decided to bite the bullet and start with the neck, chip away small steps, and see how I went. You know what, in the end it wasn't actually that bad on the neck. Even the frets came out pretty easily, so I took the chance to radius sand the fingerboard using a 9.5. It came up really well with minimal chip out, so I jumped straight into a refret with medium wire and even gave ball ends a shot. You know what, it's come up alright. They're definitely not the best ball ends, but they're pretty good. Okay, so when it comes to the body, I'm not going to lie, I knew how beautiful the NATO grain was going to be underneath that house paint. The orbital took a long time to get through that house paint and down to the final layers of the original finish. I think this was originally one of the burst models because there was a layer of red that I had to get through. It did take a long time to sand this down and get it perfect, but I did get there in the end and it looked stunning. The grain was absolutely amazing until I dropped it. Look, this wouldn't be a rescue on Guitar Street if I didn't ball something up, and in the end I dropped the body twice. I steamed out the first dent, and then as I was sanding it through, I dropped it again and made a new dent. These rescues are definitely a learning process for me. You know, it's a very steep learning curve a lot of the time. Red hot tip, if it's a multi-piece headstock, don't use an orbital sander too much. the glue will heat up and let go of one of the pieces. So after I glued the headstock back together, we're ready to roll with the stain. Look, I threw around so many different ideas to stain this thing. I was going to do black highlights on the grain. I was going to do a black burst. I was going to do a lot of things, but in the end, I thought, you know what? The grain of this NATO wood is so good. Just leave it. Let it go naturally. So I chose True Oil. It's a gunstock oil and dries nice and hard to give good protection. I've never used it before, so I was doing a lot of research and I ended up stumbling on a blog called Zero Fret. He recommended mixing a tiny portion of Japan Dry and mineral spirits. Instead of using the mineral spirits, I mixed in a tiny bit of Crimson Guitars Stunning Stains for the first few layers, applying with 400 grit sandpaper. I think the wood turned out absolutely stunning. I mean, that grain has just popped. The flame on the back is just mind-blowing. I love it. Final surprise was when I decided to strip the pick guard. Again, that was covered in house paint, and it was one of my biggest worries whether or not I'd be able to get it done. I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, but lo and behold, tortoiseshell was underneath. The original tortoiseshell guard came out beautifully. I've given it a buff and a polish. I've cut back as many scratches as I can. Look, it's not perfect, but it's original and it looks fantastic. Okay, so when I looked at the pickups, it was pretty clear to me straight away why there was no signal in the beginning. The pickup wires had come off the lugs and that was a really easy fix. After that, I shielded the guard and the pickup cavity and built a full harness based on a vintage jazz-based diagram I found online. It's now a combination of the original pots, cloth wire, and a big vintage Russian paper in oil capacitor that I got from Guitar Source. The quality of this thing has really amazed me. Pretty much everything on this guitar is original. Seriously, the only non-original things on this guitar are the frets, the wiring, the capacitor, and the decal. Look, on the decal, some people might note that it is a bit smaller than the original decal and it's gold instead of black. I don't care, it looks good. The next owner can change it if they really want to. Remember, this is not a restoration, it's a rescue, so please don't hit me up in the comments about that. Okay, so how does it sound? Well, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I'm not the best guitarist, and I'm certainly not the best bass player. So I've enlisted my mate Jim again. He did the test for the Screamin' 82 Greco pickups. He's an amazing guitarist and pretty good bass player too. So I enlisted his help to do the tone test for me. Just one really quick note before I do get into the tone test. Jim played this bass when it was not set up yet. So the action was quite high and I needed to adjust the truss rod a bit, etc. Look, there is a bit of buzz every now and again and it's not perfect. I have since leveled the frets again, given the truss rod a good adjustment, filed down the nut so it's nice and low. It's set up beautifully now and playing much better than it was when Jim played, but you'll get the idea from this video. Okay, so let's have a listen to this thing. Again, if you want to support me with these rescues, please jump online to guitarstreet.co and purchase a t-shirt. You can follow me on Instagram at guitarstreet.co and please hit subscribe. We've got plenty more rescues to get through. I'll be jumping back into the vintage humbucker tone library next video, and I've got so many rescue videos to get through. So make sure you stay tuned and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.